Praneshu Bhava Viraktir Anyatra Chaistrika Eka Kalaha Prapadyamanasya Yatha Anastaha Sayos Tushti Pushti Shud Upaya Anugrahasam Bhakti Paresham Bhavati Anyatra Chesa Trika Eka Kalaha Bhakti Parishama Bhavarakti Anyatra Chaisa Trika Eka Kalaha Prapadyamanasya Yatha Anastahasyos Pushti Pushti Shuddha Payo Narasam Bhakti Parishano Bhavo Virakti Anyatra Chaistrika Eke Kalaha Okay, word for word. Bhakti, devotion. Pada Isha, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anubhavaha, direct perception. Viraktir, detachment. Anyatra, from everything else. Cha, and. Esaha, this. Trikaha, group of three. Ekakalaha, simultaneously. Prapadyamanasya, for one in the process of taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. Yata, in the same way as. Asnataha, for one engaged in eating. Suyu, they occur. Tushti, satisfaction. Pushti, nourishment. Shuddhapayaha, eradication of hunger. Anugasayam, increasingly with each morsel. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things. These three occur simultaneously for one who has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the same way that pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger come simultaneously and increasingly with each bite for a person engaged in eating. Purport. Srila Jiva Goswami has explained this analogy as follows. Bhakti, or devotion, may be compared to tushti, satisfaction, because they both take the form of pleasure. Paresh Anubhava, experience of the Supreme Lord, and pushti, nourishment, are analogous because both sustain one's life. Finally, virakti, detachment, and shuddhapaya, cessation of hunger, may be compared because both free one from further hankering so that one may experience shanti, or peace. A person who is eating not only becomes uninterested in other activities, but increasingly becomes uninterested in the food itself, according to his satisfaction. On the other hand, according to Srila Jiva Goswami, although one who is experiencing the blissful personality of Godhead, Krishna, becomes uninterested in anything other than Krishna, his attachment to Krishna increases at every moment. Therefore, it is to be understood that the transcendental beauty and qualities of the Supreme Lord are not material, since one never becomes satiated by relishing the bliss of the Supreme Lord. The word virakti is very significant in this verse. Virakti means detachment, whereas tyaga means renunciation. According to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the word renunciation can be used as a situation in which one considers giving up an enjoyable object. But by considering everything to be potential paraphernalia in the service of the Lord, of Lord Krishna, as described in the previous verse, one need not give thought to renunciation. For one who uses everything in the proper way in the service of the Lord, yukta vairagyam uchyate. The very pleasant analogy of a good meal is given in this verse. A hungry man busily consuming a sumptuous plate of food is not interested in anything else happening around him. In fact, he considers any other topic or activity a disturbance to his concentration on the delicious meal. Similarly, as one advances in Krishna consciousness, one considers anything unrelated to the devotional service of Krishna an obnoxious disturbance. Such concentrated love of Godhead has been described in the second canto of the Bhagavatam by the words, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purusham Param. One should not make an artificial show of renouncing the material world. Rather, one should systematically train the mind to see everything in its expansion of the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just as a hungry, materialistic man, upon seeing sumptuous food, immediately desires to put it in his mouth, an advanced devotee of Krishna, upon seeing a material object, immediately becomes eager to use it for the pleasure of Krishna. Without the spontaneous hunger to engage everything in the service of Krishna and to dive deeper and deeper into the ocean of love of Krishna, so-called realization of God or loose talk about so-called religious life is irrelevant to the actual experience of entering the kingdom of God. According to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the path of bhakti yoga is so joyful and practical that even in the stage of sadhana bhakti, in which one follows rules and regulations without an advanced understanding, one can perceive the ultimate result, as stated by Srila Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Ihe yasya haridasya kamana manasagiri nikalava api avastuhu jivan mukta suyuchate. As soon as one surrenders to the Supreme Lord Krishna, prapadyamanasyaha, giving up all other activities, virakti anyatra cha, one is immediately to be considered a liberated soul, jivan mukta. The Supreme Lord Krishna is so merciful that when a living entity understands that the personality Krishna is the source of everything and surrenders to the Lord, Krishna personally takes charge of him and reveals to him within his heart that he is under the Lord's full protection. Thus, devotion, direct experience of this personality of Godhead, and detachment from other objects become manifest even in the beginning stage of Bhakti Yoga. Since Bhakti Yoga begins at the point of liberation, other processes have as their final goal salvation and liberation. But according to Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadhamam Parityagya Mamekam Sharanam Raja Aham Tvam Sava Papabhyo Mokshayasyami Masuchaha. If one surrenders to Krishna, one is immediately liberated and thus begins his career as a transcendental devotee with complete confidence in the Lord's protection. Om Jnana Timidandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Umigatamaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutaya Soyama Bhagaravayam Tasmapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pamanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yes, so this verse here, let's read the verse again. Devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things. These three occur simultaneously for one who has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the same way that pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger come simultaneously and increasingly with each bite for a person engaged in eating. Yeah, so this verse is discussing the process of detachment and renunciation. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is talking about yukta vairagya, practical renunciation, engaging everything in the Lord's service. So in the Vedic system, there are 4 ashrams. And the purpose of those ashrams are different stages of renunciation to come to the point of complete renunciation, sannyas. So the brahmachari stage, one is practicing. Like once someone was finding fault was speaking to Prabhupada and said, these brahmacharis, they're not really renounced. They don't have real taste. And Prabhupada said, yes, it is to practice. Just like you are going on the treadmill and you're practicing running. It's not real running, but it is to practice. So he said, this is brahmachari ashram. And then if one is unable to maintain that level of renunciation, then there is grihastha ashram, when one tries to engage one's propensities in Krishna service in different ways. And then vanaprastha ashram, where one again is now becoming more externally renounced, and then sannyas. So the whole purpose of the system is so that we can give up this material world, to renounce the material world, just in different stages. Like there's a kind of renunciation, it's called the renunciation of the funeral gut. When people go to the funeral gut and we see all the dead bodies, and you're going there with your loved one, and maybe it's your father or some relative, and this person, their body is there, dead, and now they're burning the body, and the person is thinking, sure, I'm working so hard for this body, and now this body's going to become like this, just a dead sack of different unmentionable ingredients to be burned on the funeral pyre. So our whole life we're working so hard to secure eating for the body and sleeping for the body and mating for the body and defending for the body and securing our position and our fame and our assets and all the paraphernalia of the body. And then at the end, what does the body become? It just turns to ashes, to nothing. And all that effort, all that stress, all that suffering we've gone through, what does it become? Nothing. It's just a dead sack burning on the funeral pyre. Now, so at the point of death, we are forced to renounce, isn't it? If we do not surrender to Krishna, we are forced to surrender to death. Krishna says, time I am the destroyer of the worlds. So Krishna is coming in the form of death to forcibly take everything away. We're forced to renounce, whether we like it or not. But if we're not truly ready to renounce, what happens? We're getting another body for another round of old age and disease and death. So the devotees, the Vaishnavas, we're like, yes, we want to renounce now. Prabhupada said, this ISKCON, it's like we're opening a shop. And in that shop, we're saying, you must give everything. So we're not charging 10 rupees or 100 rupees. We want everything. So we just give everything and return materially. We're not giving you anything. Is this a good business? A difficult business. But spiritually, of course, what are we getting? We're getting eternal life. Yeah? Krishna is giving us, ISKCON is giving us immortality, the greatest thing. That's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in this endeavor there's no loss or diminution. Yeah, that's whatever we endeavor for our material body, that just ends up on the funeral pyre, burning to ashes for nothing. Whatever effort we're putting into our eternal spiritual life, that is to our eternal credit. Yeah. So that's why Bhakti Vinod has this prayer that the Vaishnav dies to live, and a living spreads the holy name around, isn't it? So we are, because death is the ultimate renunciation. So the devotee is like, let me die now, isn't it? And when we're in material life, we're still attached. We're like this fist, we're attached. We're trying to squeeze some enjoyment out of this material world, isn't it? Out of Artha, Dharma, Karma, Moksha, we're trying to squeeze some kind of happiness. But at the point of death, we're just like, let go. We cannot hold on. And just like, and so so that is our process, to try to give up, to renounce. And as long as we're squeezing like this, are we happy? We're not happy, isn't it? Because happiness is already there. It's not that we have to squeeze anything. It's already there. It's because of our squeezing that we're not happy. Because our hearts are already full of love for Krishna. If we simply give up all these desires, then we can experience that eternal consciousness. So one personality who embodied this principle of Vairagya was Raghunath Das. He was born in a very opulent family. His father was a Govinda Majunadar, and they were landholders, and they were extremely opulent. I think the income was like 1,200,000 rupees a month. Yeah? So that's, in Indian terms, that's 120 lakhs every month. Of course, they're very charitable, and they would give to the brahmanas and like that, and they're very well liked. And they're also close relatives of Nilamba Chakravarti, who was the grandfather of Lord Chaitanya. So when Lord Chaitanya came to Shantipur, then he first met Raghunath Das, the son of this wealthy son who has everything. He's born with the silver spoon in his mouth. But when he saw Lord Chaitanya, he immediately felt such ecstasy, and he offered obeisances to the Lord and grabbed his lotus feet. And the Lord put his lotus feet on his head, and immediately he surrendered to the Lord. And of course, he wanted to renounce everything. He didn't care for this opulence. And he was also, their family was also well acquainted with Advaita Acharya's family. And Advaita Acharya would give the remnants of Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya was in Shantipur for like a week, and Raghunath Das was serving him as a menial servant every day. But then when Lord Chaitanya left for Jagannath Puri, Raghunath Das, he couldn't bear the separation, and he just wanted to run away. And he tried many times to run away, but his father would always catch him and bring him back. In fact, he employed 11 people to guard him. he had five security guards and 4 servants and 2 brahmanas to cook for him. So he had 11 people always watching him and securing him that he would not leave. So then later, Lord Chaitanya, after taking sannyas, he came back to Shantipur, and Raghunath Das insisted to his father, I have to go meet Lord Chaitanya. If you don't allow me to go, I'll leave my body. So his father eventually relented. Yes, you can go again to meet Lord Chaitanya. And again, he's engaged in Lord Chaitanya's service and taking the Lord's remnants. But the Lord could understand his mind, that he was constantly wanting to renounce everything and join Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya instructed him. He says, you should not make yourself a show-bottle devotee and become a false renunciate. For the time being, enjoy the material world in a befitting way and do not become attached to it. Within your heart, you should keep yourself very faithful, but externally you may behave like an ordinary man. And thus, Krishna will soon be very pleased and deliver you from the clutches of Maya. So here, Raghunath Das was instructed by the Lord that he must be patient to cross this ocean of material existence. And this is one of the instructions of Rupa Goswami, patience, because Krishna consciousness is a natural process. Like Prabhupada explains, like when a woman gets pregnant, she wants her child, can it just come automatically? That, I want it now, I'm demanded. No, she has to wait 9 months. And when we're watering our creeper of devotion, the creeper is naturally growing. And we can't force it to grow. We want to give it fertilizer and try and force it to grow, but it's a natural process. It takes time. We have to be patient to cross this ocean of material existence. So like that, Raghunath Das, although in his heart he was completely renounced, completely detached from material life, externally he was engaging in all these activities like a normal person. And of course his parents were very happy that, finally he stopped running away and he's not acting like a madman, trying to escape every second. And then later his uncle Hiranya gets in trouble with the Muslim tax collectors, and they're thinking that he is cheating them, that he is stealing some of the taxes that he should be giving. And so they come and try to arrest him, but they cannot find him. So then the tax collector instead, he arrests Raghunath Das. And because Raghunath Das was a member of the Kayasta community, who were all big, all kinds of big shots, he couldn't beat him. But he was keeping him imprisoned and telling him, you must bring your uncle here, otherwise I'm going to keep you here. And Raghunath Das, by his sweet words, he convinced him that actually, you're like Hiranya and you're like brothers, and sometimes brothers fight and they make up and they're okay, and I'm like your son, so how can you keep me like this and like this? Simply through his sweet words, the tax collector said, yes, actually you are like my son, and some tears were coming from his eyes, and he said, yes, I will release you from this prison. So then Raghunath, he arranged a meeting between Hiranya and the tax collector, and they sorted things out, because the tax collector, he was really upset that he's not getting his cut from the cheating. He's like, where's my cut? So they arranged something, and like that, Raghunath Das was showing what an expert business person he was in material dealings. But then again, after this, he's trying to run away. And his parents are getting upset. And his mother's saying, oh, you should tie him up with ropes. And his father's saying, but he already has the ropes of opulence. He has so much opulence. He has the most beautiful wife who's like Lakshmi herself. If these things cannot tie him up, what can tie him up? He clearly has the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And therefore he can never be attracted to these things. But still, Raghunath Das was not able to escape. And that is like us, although we're not on the level of Raghunath Das. We are trying to escape. We have the mercy to become sadhana bhaktas, but we are still, we don't have the mercy to, or at least I don't have the mercy to get that real bhakti, that real taste. And like that, we're trying to escape our attachments and our material entanglements in our mind and our senses, but still they are holding us. Through my own concocted analogy, we could see the 5 servants of Raghunath Das. They're like the 5 senses that are guarding us, like the security guards, keeping us entangled. And then we have the 4 servants. It's like the 4 Purusharthas, Artha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These things also entangling us. And then we have the 2 Brahmanas, like the mind and the intelligence. So somehow Raghunath Das, he just couldn't escape. He's trying his best to escape, but these security guards, they keep on catching him and bringing him back. So we're trying to escape. But it's like a catch-22, trying to practice devotional service, because how is it that we become detached? It's through attachment, through getting some taste that we can really, by getting the higher tastes, the param uchate, we can give up that lower taste. But the problem is that when we have that lower taste, then that is an offense to the holy name, isn't it? The 10th offense to the holy name. It's given in the Padma Purana. It says, Shrutipi nama mahatme ya priya ratina nara aham mamadi paramo namni so api aparada krit. If one has heard the glories of the transcendental holy name of the Lord, but nevertheless continues in a materialistic concept of life, thinking I am this body and everything belonging to this body is mine, aham mameti, and does not show respect and love for the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, this is an offense. So this is the 10th offense. So to give up our materialistic attachments, we need to become attached to Krishna. But our attachments to material are what's blocking us from getting attached to Krishna, isn't it? It's like a catch-22. We're like stuck. So how do we get out of this situation? Mercy. That is the thing. That is what we require. It's that creeper. The creeper that comes descending through parampara from Lord Chaitanya, through his different associates, through the spiritual master. That is the only way we can get out of this cycle of attachment and offense and like that. So how did Raghunath Das, how did he get the mercy to escape these 5 watchmen and the 4 servants and the 2 brahmanas? Well, he served Lord Nityananda. That when Lord Nityananda came to Shantipur, Raghunath Das went there to meet him, and he was standing at some distance. And Lord Nityananda says, "Why are you standing at some distance like a thief? Come here immediately. What are you afraid of?" So then Raghunath Das came and touched the feet of Lord Nityananda, and he said, "Yes, you should make a great feast for everyone in Shantipur. And not in Shantipur, in Panihati. Yes. So Raghunath Das arranged this massive Chidadahi feast, with the chipped rice and all the yogurt and all the fruit, and all the people heard, and more people were coming, and then more and more merchants were coming, and Raghunath Das was just purchasing everything and employing more servants, and like that they had this massive feast that Raghunath Das was serving to Lord Chaitanya and everyone. And then by Lord Nityananda's meditation, he called Lord Chaitanya to be present there. And the advanced devotees could actually see Lord Chaitanya, although physically he was not present, but simply by the power of Lord Nityananda's meditation, Lord Chaitanya became present at Panihati and partook in this feast. So you cannot understand the mind of a pure devotee, because Lord Nityananda is having pastimes, and to a materialistic person it's like he's a crazy man talking to his invisible friend. But actually Lord Chaitanya was there by the power of his meditation. And then Raghava Pandit came and he asked Lord Nityananda, why is it that you're not, I have cooked lunch for you. And he said, I have this massive feast here. I will come in the evening to eat at your temple. And after this massive feast, then Raghunath Das petitions Lord Nityananda that I cannot escape. I want to join Lord Chaitanya in Puri, but I cannot escape because of these, that my father, whenever I try to escape, he always catches them. And Lord Nityananda says, do not worry, I have given you my mercy, that in time you will, Krishna will free you from your entanglement. Shishi Mitat Mahaprachandra Ki Jai. So after this, Raghunath Das, he gives so much charity to Lord Nityananda, he gives so much charity to Raghava Pandit and to all the devotees. And this is the main duty of grihasthas, to give in charity. Like one grihastha came to Prabhupada and he says, what is the duty of a grihastha? And Prabhupada said, be charitable. And then he's thinking, maybe there's something deeper that Prabhupada wants to tell me, and he asks him again. And again Prabhupada says, be charitable. And then third time he asks him, looking for something deep, And again Prabhupada says, be charitable. So this is Krishna consciousness. We're learning the art of giving, isn't it? Like when we join the ashram, we're just giving everything. But in our heart, maybe we're not ready to give everything, isn't it? We're practicing to give, and sometimes the heart is like, oh, I can't give so much, let me, that's why Grihastha ashram is, they can't handle this giving everything off, So he gives, okay, give 50%. Can't handle this giving 100%. But that is Krishna consciousness. At the end of the day, it's not about renouncing, it's about giving, It's not just giving Lakshmi, but giving our hearts to Krishna, wanting to give to others, to help others, to serve others. Having that kind, developing that real kind-heartedness, soft-heartedness, that is the goal of Krishna consciousness. It's not just like to be a yogi, like really renounced, like really hardcore, But if we're really hardcore, but the heart is not soft, the heart is hard, We're not feeling like giving to the other devotees. We want to take from them. We want to take respect from them. Look at me, what a great devotee I am. We want to take respect. We want to take honor. We want to take position, or like that. So the heart is not really there. That's really the goal at the end of the day. If externally we're renounced, but in the heart we don't have that real giving heart, that real desire to give to others, then what is the point? Because at the end of the day, when we leave our body, it's the state of our heart that the Lord is going to see. It's the state of our heart that's going to take us back to Krishna. Yeah. So that is what matters. So Raghunath Das, after this experience, he cannot sleep in the inner chamber of his house, and he's sleeping on the Durga Mandap, on the external kind of part of the house. And one night, he's awake late at night, again just thinking, how can I escape? And then his spiritual master, Yadunanda Acharya, comes in the middle of the night, and he says, one of my disciples is Brahmana. He has given up the worship of the deity, and the deity needs his service. You must come and convince him to go back to his service of serving the deity. And so then Raghunath, he agrees, okay, I will go with you to help convince. And he tells his guys, I'm just going with Yadunandan, and gives the whole story, and they leave like this. And he tells Yadunandan, okay, I will go now to this Brahmana and I will try and convince him. And like that, he gets his opportunity to escape. And this time he says, I will not get caught. And he takes all the back roads, all the village paths, not the main roads. And he doesn't join, and there's a party of devotees going to Puri, but he doesn't join this party because he knows his father will send all the guards to come and catch him. So like that, for 12 days he walks to Jagannath Puri. And some days, most days he could not eat. He could only eat for maybe 3 of those 12 days. And one day sleeping in the barn of the milkman, and the milkman just gives him some milk. And like that, stealthily, he makes his way to Jagannath Puri without getting caught. And then he meets Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya, he says, the mercy of Lord Krishna is stronger than anything else. Therefore the Lord has delivered you from the ditch of material life, which is like a hole in which people pass through. He says, although your father and uncle are charitable to Brahmanas and greatly help them, they are nevertheless not pure Vaishnavas. However, they are almost like Vaishnavas. Those who are attached to materialistic life and are blind to spiritual life must act in such a way that they are bound to repeated birth and death by the actions and reactions of their activities. Yes. So we do not want to be almost like Vaishnavas, where there's no question of renunciation in our heart, but always continuing with our attachments and not being serious in spiritual life. So then Raghunath Das, for 6 days, he was taking the remnants of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya put him under the care of Swarup Damodar, and he was staying at the home of Govinda, and he was taking the remnants of the Lord every day. And then he thought, no, this is not right. I cannot simply depend on Govinda. So then he leaves, and he decides that he's simply going to maintain himself by begging at the Simadwara gate. And that is how he was maintaining himself. And when Lord Chaitanya heard of this, he was like, yes, this is very good, that he has renounced staying at Govinda's and now he's simply depending on begging. So then Raghunath Das, he approaches Lord Chaitanya and he asks him, he says, I do not know, what is my duty? Please instruct me. So these are the instructions that Lord Chaitanya personally gave to Raghunath Das. He says, do not talk like people in general or hear what they say. You should not eat very palatable food, nor should you dress very nicely. Do not expect honor, but offer all respect to others. Always chant the holy name of Lord Krishna, and within your mind render service to Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. One who thinks himself lower than grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, and who does not expect personal honor, but is always prepared to give respect to others, can very easily and always chant the holy name of the Lord. So after these instructions, the devotees eventually arrive from Bengal with Shivananda Sen. And through that, Raghunath Das' father hears that he is in Puri. And they're thinking, this is terrible, our son. He is suffering, living like a poor man. We should send some money and servants. And I remember when my father came to the ashram and he saw me sleeping in the walls, not very well painted, all the paint was coming down, they're chipped, and in my room there's no bed, sleeping on the floor. It's like, what the hell is this craziness? What has happened to my son? He was quite disturbed. So like that. Also, Govinda Majumdar was disturbed by his son's condition, so he sends Lakshmi and he sends servants, but Raghunath Das, he does not want any of these things. So he simply employs the servants to cook for Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya would come, I think it was once a week or twice a week, and he would feed Lord Chaitanya and his devotees. And for 2 years this was going on. And then Raghunath Das thought, no, I cannot continue like this. And so then he decides that he will go back to begging, and even he thinks, no, I cannot even continue this begging at Simadwara. I'm like a prostitute, thinking, will this man give me money? Will this man not give me money? Like this is no good. Let me simply go to the charity booths and I will beg from there and maintain myself like that. And when Lord Chaitanya was saying, why is Raghunath Das not calling me anymore? And then he was informed by Swarup Damodar that, yes, actually this is what he's doing. He's just maintaining himself from going to the charity booths. And Lord Chaitanya became very pleased by his renunciation. And he gave Raghunath Das a Govardhan Shila and a garland of small conch shells. And Lord Chaitanya said, this stone is a transcendental form of Lord Krishna. Worship this stone with great eagerness. And like that, Shishi Gauranitai Ki Jai. And like that, Raghunath Das continued his sadhana. So Raghunath Das' sadhana was that he spent 22 hours out of 24 hours chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and remembering the lotus feet of the Lord. So he ate and slept for less than an hour and a half. And on some days that was also impossible. So if we think that we're big devotees, we can compare ourselves to Raghunath Das. We think like we're big renunciates. Just look at Raghunath Das. We want to feel very small and humble. It's Raghunath Das. And even then he was like not feeling he can go to these chariots. He's feeling like he was like some kind of this food was too good for him, you know. So then he starts taking the decomposed remnants of Lord Jagannath. And he would take this decomposing food and he would wash all the rotting parts away, and like that he would eat this. And then Swarup Damodar came to him and he was like, "What is this nectar you're eating?" And he took some of this and he was eating it. Wow, this is nectar. This is coming from the hand of Raghunath Das. And then Lord Chaitanya also comes and tries to snatch it, take some of this food, and they're like, "No, Lord, you cannot eat this decomposing." He's like, "No, this is such nectar." And like that, Raghunath Das was showing us real renunciation. Of course, we cannot imitate Raghunath Das. He was experiencing what they're talking about in this verse, that he was experiencing such inner fulfillment that even eating decomposing food was just nothing to him, because he is having this inside himself, this ocean of bliss that's externally, he just had no requirements. Yeah, but that is the goal, to get Lord Chaitanya's mercy, so that we can become to that second stage of Krishna consciousness, where we're actually experiencing Krishna consciousness, where we're actually in the spiritual world. Yeah. So we can pray to Raghunath Das for his mercy, that we can also get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and really get that great taste for Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Okay, anyone has any comments or questions? Okay, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Sri Prabhupada Guru Maharaj ki jai.